May you roll smoothly for eternity. Fair enough.
What do you give
How
us?
happy Baldy is.
We got plus 5% attack. Nice. Oh, we can give ambrosia.
Prince, that vintage ambrosia bottle that you gave me, that was the greatest thing I ever tried, I think. Even Baldy enjoyed the stuff.
I thought you'd like it, sir, and so I'm pleased to offer you another. Almost a shame we seldom get such imports from Olympus around here. I hope I can appreciate it for myself sometime, once all this is over with, I think.
What? You mean that you've never touched the stuff yourself? You've much more self-control than I have there. Perhaps someday we'll have a chance to share some between us.
Yeah, I hope so too.
We've got one more to go with Sisyphus, and then he is done.
Word is that the most beautiful music's been heard up in Asphodel lately, Prince. From the sound of it, why, I think that has got to be Eurydice and Orpheus.
Oh, that's cool. He found out about it.
You heard correctly, Sisyphus. Orpheus is reunited with his muse at last. Or at least he gets to visit on the regular when he isn't busy at my father's house. So you've heard of them, have you?
Oh, I've more than heard of them. I'm sure you know how Orpheus once ventured all the way down here after Eurydice passed on. I'll never forget his song. Even the Fury sisters gave me a break. They were so captivated by it then. Ah, good times. For me, at least.
I love that Sisyphus is basically the guy who's like, yeah, and then they stopped beating me for 5 minutes. That was a great day. Like, that's how he just measures everything.
Do tell the Furies I said.
You got it, boss. Oh, Chips Ahoy! Thanks, dude.
Powered up.
That's true. Well, in Sisyphus' defense, it seems like he's been down here a very long time, but we completed his quest line, so we actually freed Sisyphus from his punishment. So they're not allowed to torture him anymore. The Furies aren't allowed to torture him, and he just kind of hangs out with Baldy now. But he's no longer being punished. Because in this game, he has been nothing but a sweetheart to us.
Should help keep me going.
The boatman Charon ought invest into a boat of more substantial size if he's to keep up with my work, my kin.
Hope I didn't keep you waiting, ladies.
So, damn you for this, Red Blood. You're making me look bad, you know? Making me feel bad.
Oh, geez.
Alecto, I didn't ask you to repeatedly attempt to kill me. How did you expect me to respond?
You do know what happens when you make me feel bad, don't you?
I kick your ass. Again? For like the millionth time?
She's getting angry.
Ow. Stop that.
My turn.
Yeah, your turn to go over traps, you nerd. How about I don't? That's kind of how I feel with all the Furies.
She's tough.
Everything is red.
Electro failed.
Dude, you shouldn't even be surprised at this point. Electo always fails.
Any boon's worth giving up.
We're just gonna keep the Poseidon trinket
Up we go, then.
until it's done.
Clear.
Yeah, Electo is a sadist. Electo is definitely a sadist. Actually, I think all the Furies are sadists. Electo is the most cruel, though, of the three.
Lucas.
Ooh, sandwich.
Die. Thank the gods.
Dude, I can't believe we're actually getting to the end of the story. This is gonna be nuts. Joke's on you! I'm into that shit! I love that. Oh, look out.
Let's get out of here.
Conch cell is maxed out. Nice, we're getting there. Slowly but surely maxing out all the trinkets. There is a Steam achievement for that. We can shop or Ares. Oh, let's go see Ares. Ares! Oh great, a witch is coming, my favorite. Thunder and lightning, very, very frightening. Ooh. Ow, 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 ow. God, I hate when they, like, get in a corner. You know what?
Not now.
Ow.
Not so fast.
I don't have any good ranged abilities. Jerk.
Let's see how it goes then. In the name of Hades, Olympus, this is an official message. Lord Ares, please consider our proposal, once you're able to decipher it.
My, what is this, my kin? Some sort of invitation for me, I presume? Not just for me. This symbolizes all the others here? Most intriguing. I shall investigate the meaning of this as quickly as I'm able then. But first,
Thanks, Doc6. Have a great night, my dude. Thanks again for bits and stuff. Have a great night.
faint.
How did Throg die? Nagash killed him. After Throg killed Sigvald, he basically went on to lead the more monstrous aspects of Archaon's army against Nagash. And he managed to get close to Nagash, but Nagash basically just picked him up and, like, obliterated him with death magic. He literally turned Throg to ash.
That one.
Can't regenerate from that. Which felt really dumb. Like, they should have just had Throg die fighting Gotrek and Felix and just made it, like, a much more impactful ending to that book. It was really weird that Throg was, like, one of the big bads for Gotrek and Felix. And then, like, he just kind of gets away like a Disney villain. Like, he felt like a Saturday morning cartoon villain in that book, even though he killed, like, a good amount of the, like, he, like, horribly mutilated a lot of the important characters. Wow, that was silly.
I missed.
My finger, like, twitched really hard. Wonder if I'm tired or something. What book was that? That was Kinslayer. Kinslayer was Throg versus Gotrek and Felix. And then, Book 5, Archaon, was when Throg did all his other stuff and died. He died in Archaon, the big book.
I could have sworn I told you never to take the power of the sea for granted, little Hades. It seems the time for words is over then.
I mean, a hyper intelligence troll sounds like a cartoon villain. Dude, the stuff Throg does in that book to all the other characters is super jacked up. Like, he like, mentally obliterates Ulrika and turns her into a monster so that Felix... Well, okay, so spoilers. But he basically causes the death of Ulrika, but Throg, being who he is, refuses to kill Ulrika. He just turns her into a monster so that Felix has to do it. Which was horrible. That was such a hard scene. And then he, like, broke Max. Max Scriber. He broke him mentally. And he also basically, like, physically... He should have killed Snorri, but Snorri had a curse on him where he basically couldn't die.
My fits of anger come and go just like the tides, nephew. Now take this from me and get out of here.
Oh!
Let's make some waves.
20% chance to catch fish? I'm in. Yeah, dude. Oh, Snorri. Oh my gosh. That was beyond heartbreaking. That was one of the most unnecessarily brutal endings to a book I've ever read. That was, oh my god, that hurt my heart so bad.
Blood and darkness.
Mine now.
GW was like, what if we just, like, ruined their life? Yeah, Throg is not just intelligent for a troll. Throg is just really intelligent. It's kind of his whole thing. Like, I wasn't a huge fan of how they implemented him in Total War Warhammer. Because in Total War Warhammer, he's smart for a troll. But in the books, like the novels, he's really, really smart. Like, he has a genius. He's basically a genius, especially when it comes to, like, the nature of chaos.
Just what I need. Now here goes.
My blessings, nephew.
Alright, Garanoth, have a good night, dude. Oh yeah, in Total War, he's really dumb.
Why, hello, Lenny. What
Well,
have
he's
you
not
been up to
super
since I
dumb,
last
but he's
destroyed
kinda
your
dumb.
multitude of heads.
Jesus, does every one of these heads have the range attack?
This! I'll strike them down right now!
Loose! Yeah, Throg is the self-proclaimed king of the trolls and the king of monsters.
Beautiful.
However, it should be noted that Throg, through the use of his crown, Throg has the ability to like control monsters and trolls. Like he can literally supplant their will with his own, which makes him exceedingly dangerous. I mean that's what makes him one of the scariest characters in Warhammer Fantasy. From like an army perspective, is that he can literally control an entire army of trolls. Have any Stormcasts fallen to chaos? No, but some of the Stormcasts have become really not good. Like they've become like really scary.
Go on and try.
As in like they like will walk into places that are having problems with chaos. And they'll basically look around the room and be like, oh, this place has a really big chaos problem. So I guess we better solve it. And like their version of solving it is literally to purge the entire place.
Next region.
The way they explain it is there are some Stormcasts who have become so... They've degenerated mentally so much that they can't tell the difference between like subtlety anymore. So like they can't tell the difference between someone that's just naturally sick and someone that actually has like... mutations of Nurgle. Like, they're really far gone. And they've done some really jacked up stuff. So, they're not chaos, but they have problems. They have serious problems. And I would not at all be surprised. And there are Stormcast Eternals who have become monsters. There are some monstrous Stormcast Eternals.
More chariots.
For the most part, they've been contained, but supposedly there are a couple that might be out among the realms somewhere, which is why which is the main purpose behind, or one of the big purposes behind the Sacrosanct.
Perfect.
Ooh, look at that. The whole point of the Sacrosanct Chamber is to find a way to allow the reforging process, which is what makes the Stormcast immortal, is to find a way to do reforging without there being any downsides. Because if you get reforged too many times, problems happen. Big problems. Like, the more often you're reforged, the more likely you are essentially to get mutations. They're not, like, mutations in a chaos sense, but, like, they lose pieces of themselves or they gain really weird quirks. Like, their hair will be made out of lightning, or their eyes, like, no longer are made of, like, normal stuff. Or they get, like, really weird stigmata and abilities based on the Wind of Heavens. And it's really starting to become a problem. And Sigmar's trying to find out a way to deal with it, but so far they're not having a ton of success. This is kind of fun. I literally just hold down my left mouse button. It's just like cut, 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 cut. Easy mode. why are there reforging problems? There are two big problems with reforging. The first big problem with reforging is that when you're reforging someone, you're taking a dead person and then you're trying to reshape them into like this perfect
I get to be
warrior.
the messenger this time. In the name of
Oh!
Hades, Olympus, this is an official message. Lord Hermes, got here as quickly as I could.
Official message for Hermes!
Why, that looks like you've got a message just for me this time. How special is that, boss? Some sort of invite from the looks of things. You sure that I'm supposed to have this, seeing as I'm not officially involved?
But when you're reforging, ooh, faster attack speed. You're reforging somebody's soul, and you're trying to fit them into a mold that's not human. I mean, you have to remember the whole thing with Stormcast is that Stormcasts are not human. They're demigods. They're more than human. They're much larger than human. They're way bigger than normal people. They're stronger. You know, their bodies are built to be much more endurant and powerful and able to deal with a lot of other problems. And Sigmar puts a little tiny fragment of himself into each of them. And the problem is when you reforge a human being into a Stormcast, it's really, really painful. The process of being reforged is supposed to be horrendous, screaming agony, to the point that the soul, even though it's not fully aware, is like constantly trying to escape. Like it's trying to get off the anvil of apotheosis because it's literally being burned and beaten into form. But the other problem with being turned into a Stormcast is you're basically dead. Like, you are a soul that does not have a body, you are dead. And because of that, that means you technically fall under the domain of Nagash. And Nagash is constantly ripping and pulling at whenever these Stormcasts die to try and drag them into Shaiish. And the process of that is not 100% stoppable or reversible. So whenever a Stormcast dies and they're being reforged, they will guaranteed, most of the time, there's a couple of rare exceptions, but they will basically guaranteed lose a piece of themselves because Nagash pulls it into Shaiish and it goes into his domain. So sometimes they lose the memories of their lives. They forget who they were, what they were called. They forget their families. They forget how they died. They forget about their people. And all Stormcasts, the very first time they're forged, or reforged, every single Stormcast basically forgets about their mortal life. And when they go down to the mortal realms, virtually all of them will eventually have an experience where they will suddenly remember. Either because they have like a weird memory while they're fighting, or they happen to revisit a place that they used to live, or they run into someone with a familiar face, or whatever. And that it's a soul-shaking experience. But they I would say they're very different from Space Marines. The big thing about Stormcast is Stormcast die a lot. But they still have human emotions. They still have human organs. Like Stormcast they're not aliens. They're just big and powerful. But they think like humans. They feel like humans. They still love. They laugh. They cry. They feel anger. They feel fear. They feel anxiety. Like they're still fundamentally human. It's just that they're basically upgraded so that they can go toe to toe with the minions of the Dark Gods. However, like we said, the process of being reforged has some heavy consequences. Which is cool because, basically the reason for that is to explain that, yeah, sure, a Stormcast is immortal. Like, a Stormcast cannot die in a traditional way. If a Stormcast dies, their soul, boop, pops back to Azir, and they get reforged most of the time. There are things that can kill a Stormcast permanently. They're rare, but they do exist. Or at least, can at least steal their souls so that they never get back to Azir, which means they're functionally dead.
I've something for you here.
But if that doesn't happen, then what they
Give me a better boon.
what they rely on. Oh, let's steal from Charon.
Hey, Charon, look at me.
But anyway, yeah. So there you go. Do the Oryx and Age of Sigmar get along with the Gloomspite Gits? Some of them.
Sorry.
Some tribes do, some tribes don't. It just depends on the tribe in question.
Sis, now is the time to strike.
Oh.
No, you don't. Phew, mate, you are tough. I look forward to making use of this.
That was painful. Gadong! Hey, Thanatos.
Hope you don't mind if I cut in here, Zagreus.
Please do. I am in a lot of pain, actually.
You so-called champions could use a lesson in humility.
Lesson 1. Don't mess with either one of us.
My attack speed is so fast!
Death sentence. How about you?
Almost there. The goddess
A
Demeter.
pleasure.
In the name of Hades.
I think I'll pass on rare crop, thanks.
I'd like to see more options.
Frozen touch.
You got a lot of them.
Thanks.
I'm going.
Okay, see ya. Are orcs biologically or culturally different in AOS than fantasy? No. Well, sort of. Most of the orcs are larger in AOS. There's not quite as many variants. Like, generally, they're just kind of all black orcs now. But they're mostly the same. There are some differences, but they're not massive. I need to give Poseidon his invite. Yeah. Okay, good. I was like, please don't be Asterius.
There you are, gigantic soul catcher. Butterflies. Ugh.
Okay, so he's not. Okay, he's not gonna let us.
Let's make some waves, right,
We'll,
Uncle?
we'll have to see him next run. Poseidon's not gonna. He's not gonna talk with us about it. Yay, Sisyphus, or not Sisyphus. Who is